One day in LA that changes everything for BTS's Jungkook and Jimin, Los Angeles. A city that for many is the center of dreams, tall buildings side by side with bright blue skies, streets that never sleep, and a recording studio that holds the biggest secrets of the world's music industry. But for two South Korean stars whose names have rocked the world, the city holds something deeper than just glamorous glow. July 13th, 2025, a seemingly ordinary day on the calendar, turned out to be a turning point for BTS's Jungkook and Jimin, as well as for ARMY around the world. The morning began without an official announcement. No tour schedule, no promotional posters, not even an update from Weverse. But some fans who happened to be around Sunset Boulevard noted a small gaffe. Two slender figures dressed in dark clothes enter an inconspicuous building that is rumored to be a secret recording studio owned by HYBE and Universal Music Group. Point one was wearing a black hoodie and a white mask, his pace fast but heavy, as if he were carrying an invisible burden. Others wore a navy blue beanie, an oversized denim suit and sunglasses that hid the expression. But from the way he touches his partner's shoulder, there is something deep and personal. Attention. They are Jungkook and Jimin. A lot of speculation sticks out from the long-distance photos that the paparazzi managed to take. Some call them just rehearsals, others suspect that the two are preparing a duet project. But who would have thought that day became more than just a recording session? That day became a day in which old wounds were revealed, long-buried emotions finally spilled over, and one simple sentence changes the direction of their journey. Can we still be honest, even though the world demands that we always be strong? Jungkook was asked this question while recording the chorus of an untitled new song. The song itself is a blend of a wistful piano melody and L's signature lo-fi beat. Sound. But more than the technicalities of the music, what is electrifying are the lyrics. Jimin, who wrote the verse section, inserted a sentence that left the whole room silent for a moment. If I cry, can you still be proud of me? Their producer, a veteran of the RCA Records collaboration, halted the recording. We don't record pop songs anymore, he said as he looked at the two idols who were now sitting in silence. You are opening your hearts, and the world will hear it. The session, which was originally planned to be only 2 hours long, ended up lasting more than 9 hours. In between recordings, they don't say much. But at some point, Jungkook stopped everything and said softly, I've never really talked about my fear. In Korea, we are trained to be tough. But here, in this room, I want to be human. Jimin heard it in silence, then approached, holding the hand of his best friend and stage brother. If you're human, so am I. And man does not have to be strong every day. That day, inside a closed studio, they finished one song, while the other two were only partially recorded. But the impact is not kidding. The staff, including sound engineers and music directors, called the song the most honest in BTS history. And although it has not yet been officially released, the news of what happened that day quickly spread, whether from internal leaks or fans smelling the scent of emotion from Jimin's cryptic post on his Instagram the night before. A photo of the Los Angeles sunset sky, with caption, something spilled, not from the sky. The afternoon in Los Angeles turned into a golden twilight that felt warmer than usual. Behind the soundproof walls of the studio, Jungkook and Jimin were still sitting together, now in a silence that was no longer heavy. No more producers, no technicians, just the two of them and the rest of the echoes of the unfinished lyrics. Outside, the streetlights light up slowly, while the clueless world goes on as usual, not realizing that in the room, two stars are learning to be ordinary people. Jungkook played back the piece of music they had recorded earlier, his fingers following the clink of the virtual piano from the computer in front of him. But his gaze could not be separated from Jimin, who was writing something in a small dark blue notebook. They didn't talk, but one look was enough to reveal their hearts, relief, acceptance, and gratitude for each other. The song they made has not been given an official title, but they agreed to refer to it temporarily as the letter that never arrived. Because for both, the song feels like the message they've been trying to send to the world about the tiredness, the pressure of being public figures, and how the love of the army is sometimes the only reason to survive. The song is not about popularity. It's about honesty, about crying shamelessly. It's about holding hands when the world seems too big to handle alone. Jimin then turned to Jungkook and said in a barely audible voice, "Do you know why I'm still here? Because I know when all the lights go out, you're still looking at me." The sentence is simple, but so piercing. Jungkook smiled faintly, then stood up and approached. He hugged Jimin not as a group mate, but as a best friend who had walked together through the same storm. The hug was long, no rush, not just stage pleasantries. And for the first time, in a very long time, both felt that they were not playing any role. They just become themselves, Park Jimin and Jungkook, two young South Koreans who once dreamed of becoming singers, and now have to find another meaning to that dream. After leaving the studio, the two did not immediately return to the hotel. They decided to walk down Melrose Avenue, still wearing hoodies and beanie, with no intention of attracting anyone's attention. Two fans who were aware of their presence chose to simply observe from a distance, appreciating that quiet moment. Some recorded secretly, but when they saw tired expressions on their faces, the video was never uploaded. Jimin stopped at a small coffee shop that was still open that night and bought 2 glasses of warm latte. They sat on wooden benches outside the store, looking at the slowly deserted street. There, amid the hustle and bustle, they talked about the future, not in the language of strategy or numbers, but in the language of the heart. About whether they will still sing the next 10 years. About whether they will still live in Seoul. About what it would be like if one day, they really had to drop the name BTS and start a new life. "When this is all over, where are you going?" asked Jungkook softly. Jimin looked up at the sky, then looked at Jungkook. "I don't know, but I want to stay close to the music. And with people who have walked with me, including you." Jungkook didn't answer. He just sipped his coffee, then nodded. And deep down, he knew the answer was enough. That day really changed everything. Not because they signed a new contract, not because there was a big announcement from the agency, but as they rediscover their voice, not a polished voice for the industry, but an honest voice born of hurt, hope, and love. The ARMY may not yet know the details, but they will definitely feel it someday when the song is released. When Jungkook and Jimin's voices echo again in headphones, speakers, or the stage. When the lyrics flow and stab right in the heart. The song will be a reminder that behind the glitter, there is a fragile but brave heart. And 2 of those hearts are stronger now because they have each other. Jungkook and Jimin rewrote their story in Los Angeles that day. Not with ink, but with tears, a little laughter, and a warm cup of coffee on a quiet evening. And the world, as always, will soon hear about IT.I in the quiet of a Los Angeles night that slowly swallowed time. Jungkook and Jimin's footsteps down a small sidewalk toward their inn. No camera flashes, no grand stage, no thunderous applause. But it is precisely in moments like this that everything feels real, without masks, without demands. The day was not marked by the announcement of a big comeback, nor was it a day to perform on stage or receive awards. But that day has recorded a much deeper moment, the day in which 2 best friends who have been walking together since adolescence finally stopped for a moment, staring at each other, and said in silence that they were still here for each other, for the music, and for the ARMY. Their journey is not finished. There are still a lot of songs they haven't sung, a lot of stories they haven't shared. But at least, today they again found a reason to step up, not as idols who need to be perfect in the eyes of the public, but as a human being you can feel fragile, tired, and still be loved, and when the world finally hears the song they created today. In a quiet little studio, under the orange glow of the California sun, ARMY will know, this is not just a song, this is a story. A story about the courage to be honest, about friendship that never fades, and about hope that lives on even though the world is sometimes too noisy. For in all the silence and wounds they carry, Jungkook and Jimin have shown that love and music always find a way to heal.